Good day, my YouTube neighbor. This is David Richardson once again on the YouTube with the Holy Word Test, bringing you something of a value. This day we are talking about the 7 ways to avoid an abomination against God and our soul ending up under darkness for eternity. We find in the Bible that God created us a living soul, breathed into us the breath of life, and we became a living soul, and that's all we'll ever be, is a living soul. But the soul is living, it will never die. Yes, you're going to die, and you're going to go to your resting place until the great judgment. Now Paul tells us in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 2, he said he saw a man caught up in the third heaven, in the body or out of the body. Paul said he didn't know, but only God knows. So I'm recommending to you that when your soul leaves this earth, it's going to go to its resting place, whether it's in the first, second, or third, fourth, or however, whatever heaven is going to go in. Only God knows how many heavens there are. But Paul said he saw a man in the third heaven. Regardless of however many there are, your soul is going to be living forever. And it is in the message that we have in today to show those 7 ways of how to avoid abomination against God and your soul ending up chained under darkness for eternity, as opposed to being in a place of yada yada and a paradise with God. So I'm recommending that you pay attention to the information that I'm giving you, and also check it out for yourself. Go to the Bible yourself. We're going to be talking about the book of Job. We're going to be talking about the book of Genesis. We're going to be talking about the book of Leviticus. We're going to be talking about the book of 2 Peter, and we're going to be talking about the book of Jude. Now, in the book of Job, we find in chapter 38 through 41, there's a discussion between God and Job. We're not going to cover the entire discussion. We're just going to cover just a portion of it. That's chapter 38, verse 7 through verse 14. I would recommend for this lesson for you to read just that information. You will find in 38:7, God is telling Job why he was fastening the foundations of the world, the earth, and creating the earth itself. He said that the morning stars sang together, and all of the sons of God shouted for joy. And that's those sons of God that this is really about. And in Job, in the first chapter, we find that the sons of God that God is describing to Job in the 38th chapter, because that's going backwards to front and front to backwards in the Bible, God is describing to Job that these sons of God shouted for joy, and these are the same sons of God in the first chapter that went to present themselves to God. And the Bible said that the devil went with them to present himself to God, and God talked with the devil as opposed to talking to the sons of God who went to present themselves to God. Again, it says in the 2nd chapter of the book of Job, it said again, the sons of God went to present themselves to the Lord, and the devil went along with them to present himself to the Lord. And we'll find when that study that God talked to the devil and asked him, where have you been? And the devil said, I've been to and fro from walking in and up and down the earth. Well, God again didn't talk to the sons of God. You see the sons of God in the book of Genesis. If you start reading the book of Genesis in the 6th chapter, verse 1 through verse 7, you run up on those sons of God again. And it said that the sons of God saw that the women of the earth was fair, and they took to marry as many as they chose. Now, what the Bible does not give you is the timing that the sons of God came to the earth after they saw God fastening the foundations of the world. They came to the earth before God formed Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed in him for Adam to become a living soul. And it is these sons of God, according to Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through 7, that married the women of the earth that was the offsprings of Adam and Eve, and their preparations of all their sons and daughters, and throughout the time that they produced up until the time that the sons of God saw that the women were fair and they took them married. Now you can see this, and just by studying the time that Adam lived, he lived 856 years before his 3rd son was born. And then according to the Bible, after his 3rd son was born, which is Seth, the Bible records that Adam had sons and daughters, and then those sons and daughters had sons and daughters, and the sons and daughters had sons and daughters, if you can understand the process of preparation. Because in verse 8 of the book of Genesis, you see where God turns to Noah, and it started talking about God getting Noah. Well, just for you and I to know that Adam lived 900 plus years, so even just before Noah's father was born, who lived 777 years, Adam was still living and still having children. So these sons of God took to marry as many as they chose of the women that was produced by that appropriation, and the offspring between the sons of God didn't know whether it was male or female, didn't know what it wanted to have sex with, so they were having sex with animals and fishes and horses and everything else. So much so God said that it grieved him and repented him that he'd even made man, and they said his spirit would not always dwell with man. So his spirit stopped dwelling with man, and he changed man's lifespan from the time 100 plus or 600, 700, 800 plus years. He changed it back to 120 years. And we'll find then in the book of Leviticus that God has laid down the law as to what we are to do on the earth, and whether man cannot marry man, woman cannot marry woman, or lay with woman, or man lay with man, or man cannot lay with their daughter, the woman cannot lay with her son, and woman cannot lay with her daughter, the father cannot lay with his son, and so forth and so on. It gives you all the law in the book of Leviticus. This is God's law we're talking about, and don't talk about you are not under the law any longer, because God's law does not change. It's just like our law. We make laws that does not change. They'll stay on the books for eternity, and God's law is not going to ever change. He set his law up in the book of Leviticus, and don't say that you're not under the law, because Jesus didn't say that he come to change the law. He come to fulfill the law. So the law is still the law. Man still should not be marrying man. That's an abomination against God. When a woman marry a woman, that's an abomination against God. When a woman sleep with another woman, that's an abomination against God. When a man sleep with a man, that's an abomination against God. You sleep with your daughter, that's an abomination against God. You sleep with your son, that's an abomination against God. And the list goes on and on and on, as you will see in the 20th chapter of the book of Leviticus. Now, in this sixth way, as the reason why you would want not to have an abomination against God is expressed in the book of 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 through verse 22. What Peter is saying, that these angels, the sons of God, that left their estate and came to the earth and married these women on the earth, that they are chained under darkness until the great judgment. They are chained under darkness. That's why God wouldn't talk to them when they went to present themselves, because they had done something that God just could not forgive, and they are chained under darkness for eternity. And our practice, man marry man, man laying with man, man woman with woman, our practice of that same process is putting us in the same position as they are, that your soul will be chained under darkness for eternity. Yeah, you're having a good time, but it's nothing but lust that you're satisfying. You don't have the right to do what you're doing. You said you do, but it's not a God-given right. It's your right to, that man can give you that right. And man can't give you the right that God has already changed and made a law. Regardless of what you say and who say it, it's still against God's law, and it is an abomination against God regardless of who you are. You're not that big that you're bigger than God. Now, in the book of Jude, which is the seventh way or reason why you should not have an abomination against God, he talks about the same thing. These sons of God are the angels that left their estate, and this is being quoted by Enoch, which you will find in the 5th chapter of the book of Genesis and the 11th chapter of the book of Hebrew. You'll find this man Enoch, who walked with God for 300 years, is the one that's quoted in the book of Jude, talking about these angels that left their estate, who went to Enoch for him to write a petition to God after God would not talk to them for trying to get forgiveness for what they had done, which left their estate and came to the earth and married the women of the earth and had children by the women of the earth, grieving God and causing him to repent that he wished he had never made man. And now we are here, living souls, doing the same thing that was being done at the time that God destroyed the men and women from off the earth with a flood, and we are now doing the same things here upon the earth that was done at that time. I'm going to conclude this. I'm sure I've taken up too much of your time. I have a limited time to do this, but I do hope for you to visit www.theholywordtest.com. That's www.theholywordtest.com, or just go to YouTube. I tell as many people as you can, go to YouTube and type in the Holy Word Test and watch all of the messages that's listed on YouTube. Now I'm going to conclude this, but I make sure that you forward this to at least 10 people, and tell those 10 people to forward it to 10, and tell those 10 to forward it to 10, and you will have 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 forwarded, and look how many people you will be responsible for having their soul not to be causes and an abomination against God Almighty. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you to have a God-blessed day. Goodbye, and be blessed. Bye.